Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat is on back order. Now, I've got a few things to talk about this week here. First of all, yes, I'm going to record an online Pokemon TCG match for you there. And not sure how it's going to turn out just yet. I haven't actually set up and tested it, but this will be the test, so we'll see how that goes. And this week, I do have another just random booster pack opening to go over. We do have another Primal Clash pack. And I think when I have like just a single pack, which is all that I have for this week, I'll probably open it up near the start of the video just to get it out of the way. But if I do have multiple packs, like say 3 or more maybe, I'll save it as like a little treat at the end of whatever video I'm recording for the week there. But I'll open this up in just a moment. Before we get any further into the video, first I want to talk about some new information that's come out on the new set that's coming out of the TCG in August 12th. It's coming out actually this year. It's called Ancient Origins, and it's introducing the mythical Pokemon Hoopa. And since I'm not really, I don't have Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, I'm not that well versed in what Hoopa is and what it can do, but from what I gather, it uses these hoops that it carries around to bring legendary Pokemon forth into special legendary spots in the Hoenn region. So I've seen that in action, and from what I've seen of the Japanese version of this Hoopa, it's an EX, of course. Legendary Pokemon have to be EXs. Not always, but for the most part they are. Its ability is, I believe, when you play it from your hand onto your bench, you get to search your deck for up to 3 other EX Pokemon, I believe. And I think they go right into your hand. You might be able to put them into play. But if they're basics anyway, you can put them into play anyhow. So they're introducing Hoopa into the mix with this new set, Ancient Origins. And I have my notes to the side here, so if I look to the side, I'm just reading stuff up. It's going to be more than 90 cards coming out in this new set, and it's introducing 3 new Mega Evolutions, which are Tyranitar, Ampharos, and Sceptile. And along with those 3, there's a total of 11 EX Pokemon coming out in this set. There's going to be some new Special Energy cards, new Ancient Traits are being included, and we're actually getting shiny versions of the Primal Reversions of Kyogre, Groudon, and then Mega Rayquaza as well. And what's interesting with these is they actually are pretty much exactly the same Primal Reversion cards that we've already had. They have the same HP, same attacks, same weakness and such like that. But they've got a new ancient trait called, I think the symbol is Theta. So if so, it's Theta Max. It says when one of your Pokemon becomes this Pokemon, so when you Primal Revert to, like, say, Primal Groudon, heal all damage from it. So if you're building up a Groudon EX and it's taking some damage, as soon as you Primal Revert into the shiny version, Theta Max will completely cure it of all damage. Fortunately, they can still be one-shot with a Tangrowth from, I think, Primal Clash. Yeah, I did some research on that one. Tangrowth would be pretty cool to use in some decks, just to surprise anyone with those Primal Reversions. It works on a Primal Kyogre, too. So that's going to be coming out August 12th, and what I'm hoping to do, like I did with the Roaring Skies set, I'm going to pick up the theme decks the day they come out and do the same kind of routine of the videos. I want to do just an unboxing of the theme decks, do a play test of them against each other, and then do one of those fusion videos where you take the best cards of each deck and make one deck out of the 2. So look forward to that coming out midway through August there when the new set comes out. And it's going to be pretty cool seeing some new Pokemon in action. And so pretty much the Japanese cards are usually all translated into English, and we get them here in North America. There's one particular card, it's a Stadium, that I'm hoping to get to include into the Victreebel deck that I've mentioned. And I believe it has the basic effect of, you know how the Wally card allows you to evolve a Pokemon on the turn it comes into play. Well, this Stadium, I forget the name of it, but it's like a forest kind of a theme. Every grass Pokemon in play can evolve on the turn it comes into play. I can get my Victreebel powered up, well, not powered up, but into play very fast with that Stadium. And I'm hoping that card gets translated, and if so, I'm hoping I pick that up. Alright, so that's just some basic information on the new Ancient Origin set that's going to be coming out soon. So moving on to the next part of the video, I want to do the booster pack opening. So let's see what I get. I'm hoping to get another Dive Ball to include in my Swampert Slurpuff deck. So let's see if the luck of the cards is with me here. Alright, so let's see what we get out of the Primal Clash booster pack here. Starting off with, make sure we're focused, And I just unfocused the camera. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Alright, we get a Slugma, Illumise, Tangela, Nidoran, Clamperl. Next up is Nidoqueen. We got Acrobike, Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime doesn't want to stay. The reverse foil card is Shroomish. So no Dive Ball, unfortunately. And the rare of the pack will be Ninetales. It's got the Barrier Shrine ability. Each player can't play any stadium cards from his or her hand. And then Flickering Flames for 2 fire, 1 colorless. It does 70 damage. And your opponent's Pokemon is now asleep. Alright, so that's the booster pack. So with all that out of the way, what I'm going to do now is switch over to trying to record a Pokemon TCG video, TCG Online video, I should say, and seeing what kind of quality I can get, and hopefully seeing if I can get a victory. So let's see how I do. So let me give you a brief introduction into the first real strategy deck that I ever made in Pokemon TCG. This will be my Victreebel Dragalge deck. So first we'll take a look at the Pokemon here. Of course you're going to want to have Bellsprout for your basic. And we have 2 Bellsprouts, 2 Weepinbell, and 2, well there's the shiny Weepinbell, and 2 Victreebel are in the deck. Now the main strategy here is Victreebel's ability, Wafting Scent. It says, once during your turn before your attack, you may discard a grass energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. So the idea with Victreebel is to combine it with Skrelp and then Dragalge. So here we have the Skrelp and the Dragalge's ability, Poison Barrier, says your opponent's poisoned Pokemon can't retreat. So the idea is Victreebel and Dragalge can be sitting on the bench and doing their abilities. So Victreebel can cause the opponent to be poisoned, Dragalge prevents them from retreating once they're poisoned. Now, since they're going to be on the bench, like they don't usually see a lot of the frontline action, most of the time I'll be putting Qwilfish up in the active spot. I have 2 Qwilfish in the deck. Mainly, Qwilfish is in here for the ability which says, it's called Counterattack Quills. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an opponent's attack, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And also for 2 colorless energy, which means a double colorless can power up Qwilfish, you can do Poison Sting for 20, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. So that also works well with Dragalge's ability, which prevents poisoned opposing Pokemon, it's kind of a mouthful, keeps them from retreating. So when Qwilfish goes down, because on occasion Qwilfish does, I have 2 Patrat and 2 Watchog. The idea for them is Thorough Crunch. For another double colorless energy, or 2 of any basic energy, you can do 30 damage to the opponent's active Pokemon, and flip 2 coins. For each heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So while Victreebel and Dragalge are causing some poison and confusion from the bench, Watchog can be up in the active spot, taking the energy away from your opponent's Pokemon so they can't fight back. And they're just going to be sitting there as the poison takes them down. Now, since you're going to be losing a lot of energy from Victreebel to keep using the Wafting Scent, originally I included several Minun in the deck. For one, any energy, negative discard lets you put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. So you can get back 2 of those grass energies and keep adding them to your Victreebel. Now, we also have the Static Shock, so I included a couple electric energy, lightning energy, I mean to say, and at least Minun can still do some damage with 20 damage from Static Shock, if you need a little bit more energy or more power just to knock out the opponent's Pokemon. So that's all the Pokemon in the deck. There's 18 Pokemon. This one relies on trainer cards for the most part. We have 25 of those. We have 2 Energy Retrieval, and back when I made this deck, I didn't have any Energy Retrieval cards because they hadn't been reprinted in the X and Y base set and up until they came into the newer sets. So I didn't have any, and I was using Minun purely for getting the energies back. But now I can kind of do both. We also have an Evo Soda in the deck. Got a couple of Great Balls. Professor's Letter, we've got one of those, just to help you get some grass energies. And I recently included a Revive from the Roaring Skies set, just for the sake of maybe bringing back a Qwilfish if it gets knocked out. Startling Megaphone is always useful, discarding all of your opponent's Pokemon tool cards that are attached. I have 2 Ultra Balls. A good trick that I like to do is use the Professor's Letter to draw 2 basic energy, use the Ultra Ball and discard those 2 energy, find a Pokemon with the Ultra Ball, and then use the energy retrieval and bring those 2 energies back. Yeah, you're burning through 3 trainers in one go with that, but it still is an effective strategy. We have a couple of Versus Seekers to bring back some of the supporter cards we're going to be using. The first of which is Lysandre. Initially, the reason I put Lysandre in the deck was for that accursed Keldeo EX. It has the ability Rush In, which says once per turn, if Keldeo is on the bench, you can switch it with your active Pokemon. So where my strategy is to keep the opponent from retreating with my Poison Barrier from Dragalge, if someone was using Keldeo, they would just rush in, send the active Pokemon to the bench, which would cure it of Confusion and Poison, and the Keldeo almost always has a Float Stone, which lets it retreat back for free. So the idea here for the Lysandre is, if I'm fighting a Keldeo EX, use Lysandre to bring Keldeo active, use the Wafting Scent, prevent it from retreating anymore, and just take it out that way. You also got a classic Pokemon Center Lady to heal 60 damage in special conditions from one of your Pokemon. Pokemon Fan Club to look for 2 basic Pokemon, put them into your hand. I put Professor Birch's Observations, and initially I had a Shauna card, which says shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5. I like Birch a little bit better because you shuffle your hand into your deck and then flip a coin. If heads, you draw 7 cards, and if tails, you draw 4. So even if you get a tails, you're not that much worse off than if you use Shauna. You're only drawing 1 less card than she would give you, but if you get heads, you're getting 2 extra cards. So I think the trade-off is pretty good. And I've included Steven from Roaring Skies. I had 2 Professor's Letters, but I decided to put him in, which lets you search for another supporter and a basic energy. So it's like Professor's Letter, but it lets you search for a supporter instead of a second energy. And again, trying to keep the opponent from attacking back, I've got a Team Flare Grunt, which says to discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. And Teammates is a card I really like, because in this deck I do lose Pokemon every once in a while, and you can only play Teammates if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. If that happens, you play Teammates to search your deck for up to 2 cards of your choice. Any card you want. Any 2 cards you want, actually. And put them into your hand. So that's very useful for getting some of the more needed cards out of your deck if they're harder to find. We have a Tierno in here for basic draw support. Draw 3 cards. And I've included Wally in place of the second Evo Soda that I originally had, because he kind of does the same thing but a little bit better. At the cost of using your supporter for the turn, he will allow you to evolve one of your Pokemon, even if it was put into play that turn. So a good combination using, let's say we have Bellsprout. If we have Evo Soda and Wally in hand, on your next turn you can use Evo Soda to bring Weepinbell into play, and then Wally can get your Victreebel into play immediately as well. And here we have Zero Sick. Choose a Pokemon tool or special energy card attached to a Pokemon in play and discard it. And that works on either or. Like you can use your opponent, do it to your opponent's Pokemon or your own. And a good reason why you want to do it to your own, if you're fighting an Aegislash EX that has the, I think, Miracle Guard ability or something like that, which prevents all effects of attacks done to Aegislash EX by opponent's Pokemon that have special energy. Let's say I've got the double colorless on my Quillfish, I will not be able to hurt Aegislash EX. I could use Zero Sick to discard that double colorless on that same turn. And we have a Mountain Ring, which basically is only in the deck just to get rid of my opponent's stadium. Usually you're going to run a stadium that will benefit your own team. All this does is prevent all damage done to bench Pokemon by attacks, both yours and your opponent's. And since my deck doesn't do any damage to the bench, that's a safe stadium for me to put in, because I'm only going to benefit from it in the fact that it's going to prevent damage done to my guys, and it will destroy whatever stadium the opponent is using as well to benefit them. And we have a tool here, the Trick Coin. I love to give this to my Watchog for when I use the Thorough Crunch. So you flip 2 coins, for each edge you discard an energy. If you flip 2 tails, then you get no bonus effect from that. So Trick Coin gives you a chance to reflip any coin flips for an attack once per turn. So if you didn't get enough heads from the Thorough Crunch, use the Trick Coin and try it again. As for energies, we got 2 double colorless here. I'm running 8 Grass Energy, 2 lightning, 2 psychic, and 2 water, just to help power up the Dragalge if it goes into battle. But I've also included, from Roaring Skies, the double dragon energy. Provides 2 of any type of energy needed, but can only be attached to dragon Pokemon. So that's a basic rundown of the deck. I admit it's not the most competitive because it's only running, I think, at most 2 copies of any one card. Most of your better decks are going to have 3 or 4 of any card. So this one is more of a fun one just to play. I win sometimes, I don't always win of course, but it's just one of my favorite ones and it's the first one I put any real strategy into. So let's fire up a match and see how we do. My opponent shall be Ordonez. So I'm going to go for the coin flip and flip ahead, so let's take the first turn. And no, this isn't the regular music that plays in Pokemon TCG Online. I find that music a little bit on the kind of the dull side, you know. I like more upbeat, impactful music, so we have Team Plasma's theme from Black and White to add a little bit more excitement into the match here. We're both using the fire sleeves. If I had the grass sleeves, I would use that for this deck, but sadly, I do not. Oh, so we have an opposing Quillfish, just like I have in my deck. Let's start off with a Great Ball, see what we can draw out of the top 7 cards. We got a Patrat and a Minun, and we do have Watchog in hand, so I'm going to choose the Patrat. Place him on the bench, and let's go with an Energy on the Bellsprout. Now, let's get the Pokemon Fan Club in play. Bring out a Skrelp, and let's go with Minun. Put them both into play, and of course we can't attack on the first turn, so we're going to end it there. Fortunately, Bellsprout does have type advantage over Quillfish, which is weak to Grass type. And as I mentioned in my description of my deck, all you need to do is throw double colorless onto Quillfish to be able to start using the Poison Sting. If that happens, we do have the Team Flare Grunt, though. We can discard the energy right off of it. And we have the Battle Compressor. I wonder if this is a Night March deck. I guess we'll find out based on what the opponent discards here. We got Reshiram, Druddigon, and another Reshiram. I wonder what kind of deck this is. Normally you don't just throw away your Pokemon like that without some sort of strategy in mind. And we have an Ultra Ball coming up. So we get an Eevee. Oh, okay, it's a Flareon deck. Adaptive Evolution lets you evolve right from the deck there with Eevee. So the reason I knew it was Flareon is because Vengeance Attack does 10 more damage for each Pokemon in the discard pile. So that's going to be 50 right now. Now, let's throw Dragalge down here. Evolve Skrelp. Let's also evolve Patrat into Watchog. I could use Lysandre to bring something up, but I don't think I will just yet. Bellsprout probably will, it'll be defeated immediately as soon as Flareon comes up, but let's get some damage on the Quillfish anyway. Double damage, doing 20, and we take 20 back from the counterattack Quills. And there's the double colorless. If it attacks now, it's going to knock out Bellsprout thanks to the poison damage between turns. Another Flareon in hand, evolved onto the bench. So, Bellsprout is done. Next active Pokemon will be Minun. So let's immediately get rid of that double colorless. Kind of slow the opponent down a bit. There we go. Wouldn't let me choose for some reason. And since we have no energy in play, we're going to end the turn. Another scary thing about the Flareon is it just needs a double colorless to be able to use that Vengeance attack. So still nothing we can do. I'm going to actually use Lysandre to bring up the Litleo for the higher retreat cost. end the turn there. That will slow the opponent down at least a little bit unless he attaches a double colorless onto Litleo for the retreat. Also saves me from having to take any more counterattack cools too. Now Pyroar is in play with the ability Trick Shovel. While they're doing that, ability is Intimidating Mane to prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by basic Pokemon attacks. Fortunately, we're not going to attack. We're going to use negative discard. Try and keep as much energy in our hand and in play as we can get. I think my next order of business, as soon as I can get 2 energy onto Watchog, I'm going to send Watchog active and start doing some damage with Thorough Crunch. It's unfortunate we don't have our Bellsprout in play to get into Victreebel right now, because that is one of the main cores of this deck, being able to use Wafting Scent and then have Dragalge prevent retreating. So we do have double colorless, alright. Give it to the Watchog, we're going to retreat mine in. Since Watchog is a stage 1, we can do damage to the opponent. Throw a Crunch for 30 and flip 2 coins. As long as I get 1 heads, it's going to keep this Pyroar from powering up too quickly. And there we got a Quillfish. And he is one of the other main attackers in the deck, so let's give him the first energy here. Thorough Crunch again. We use 1 heads. We got it. Trick Shovel is going to let the opponent look at the top card of either player's deck and then choose whether or not to discard it. We have Steven. I'm going to choose to look for the Fan Club, which is not here. So, since we know our hand is almost empty, let's get Sycamore. We're going to choose another basic energy. Let's go for Grass. That we're going to give to Quillfish. Go with another Thorough Crunch. Well, yeah, I could use the held item inspection to look at the opponent's hand, but nah, let's just try and take that Pyroar down. It doesn't matter if we get heads right now because the opponent has 0 energy to discard anyhow. This is going to be kind of painful because as soon as I knock out this Pyroar, suddenly Flareon's going to be doing that much more damage. More Pokemon being discarded. Okay, let's see what I got in my discard pile. I got any energies? I have 1. Let's do something a little sneaky here. I'm going to grab that 1 energy. I'm going to throw that to the Watchog. Might as well play the Stadium and go right here and then throw out the Sycamore. So, still no Bellsprout. But we're going to now retreat and use that Psychic Energy to retreat and send up Quillfish. The reason being, I don't want to lose Watchog as soon as that Flareon comes up. I want to be able to Thorough Crunch that energy off. So now we're going to go for a Poison Sting. 0 damage, but we do get poison onto the Pyroar. 1 more turn and Pyroar is done, and it can't retreat thanks to the Poison Barrier. Get the first prize, the Ultra Ball. Another Quillfish comes up. So Quillfish versus Quillfish. I believe I shall use Ultra Ball and get rid of 2 Grass Energy. We're going to look for a Bellsprout. And we found a Bellsprout. Let's throw the energy on there. And I'm going to use the energy retrieval. Get back to Grass. Now I'm going to play the Professor Birch. I just want to put more Grass Energy back into the deck, essentially. And with the heads, we get 7 cards. Alrighty. Let's throw another Skrelp down. Go for a Poison Sting. We're going to take the counter attack, but I just basically wanted to get the poison off so that the opponent can't bring back that Quillfish anytime soon. Battle Compressor takes 3 more cards out of the opponent's deck and just simply discards them. More Pokemon being tossed out. So since Quillfish is going to go down to Poison, oh good, we drew the Weepinbell. Awesome. I'm going to put an energy on Quillfish and then simply retreat and bring up that Skrelp. I'm going to let the Poison take out the opponent while I keep setting things up here. There's nothing else I need to evolve. Do I need any supporters back? I could bring back the Sycamore. Of course I could wait and do that next turn anyhow. Let's just end the turn. One more turn and Quillfish is done. As soon as these Flareons hit the active slot, this is when the real fight's going to begin. You can cut the suspense with a knife in this fight. Okay, Quillfish is done. And fortunately we drew an energy, which we kind of wanted to do. So we evolved Weepinbell to Victreebel on the bench. Immediately we're going to use that Wafting Scent ability. So discard a Grass energy from Victreebel to cause confusion and poison in the active Pokemon on the opponent's side. Alright, let's retreat Skrelp and bring up the Quillfish again. I think I'm probably safe to go ahead and use Versus Seeker. I'm going to bring back Sycamore. No, I'm going to actually win the game. I think the opponent knew they were pretty much done for. That is the true power of Victreebel Dragalge. I get a ticket. Victory! So that, folks, was the first recorded battle of the Victreebel Dragalge deck here. It's unfortunate we didn't get to a final conclusion, but we pretty much did based on what we saw the outcome of the that last turn was. And it's a deck that works sometimes. It does have a lot of trouble with EX decks, unfortunately, because I try to run decks that don't have EXs and focus more on, like, ability strategies and such. So it does okay against other decks as well there. So for this video, that'll be the deck. I'm going to cancel out of here. The next video that I record for TCG Online will be what I call the Depth Charge deck, and this is like the one that I put together in the deck building informational video I put up a while ago. As you can see here, it's got my Slurpuff, the Goomy line, and we have the Swampert. Now, it's actually a little different because I made some tweaks to that deck. Wailord EX, he just kind of didn't do that well. So, I've made some changes. The next video I record, I'll give you a breakdown of this deck as it is right now, and see if we can record a match with that one. Excuse me. We'll record a match with that one. Alright, well, thank you for checking out this video this week, and I'll catch you next time.